welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read Parashah Chaya, and Parashah Chaya is a very full parasha where three major things happen. So the parasha begins announcing that Sarah passed away. It talks about her life and that all her years were equally good, 127 good years. And then it goes to talk about Abraham purchasing a land where he can bury his loved Sarah, and he purchases this cave in Hebron, which till today you can go and visit, and it's called Kaver HaMachpelah, and this is a name because it says the four couples are buried in this cave. It's Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka or Rebecca, and Yaakov and Leah. And then the parasha continues talking about Abraham sending Eliezer, his right-hand man, to go and look for a wife for his loved son Isaac. So there's a beautiful teaching about this whole encounter of Eliezer with Rivka. And it says in the parasha, the man took a gold ring, it was actually a nose ring, half a shekel, its weight, which is saying how much it weighed, 2 bracelets upon her hand, 10 shekels of gold, their weight. And the Talmud in Kiddushin says, how is a woman betrothed? So in Kiddushin, in the Talmud, it says the groom or his agent, his shliach, in this case Eliezer, gives her money or anything of value in the presence of 2 witnesses and says to her, you are hereby consecrated to me. And although the betrothal can be effected with anything that has a minimum value of 1 peruta, this is a value of those times, the custom is to betroth with a ring. So today, in the marriage ceremony, in the Jewish ceremony, even in non-Jewish ceremonies, there's a custom that the groom gives the bride a ring. So we're going to see where this comes from. So the circle makes the boundary between the defined area within the unquantifiable expanse without, between the measurable and the infinite. So if we see a circle has no beginning and no end. You don't know where it began and where it ends. And indeed, the circle itself is a mystery. Its value known only as the enigmatic P, a string of numbers that stretch onto fathomless infinity. So according to the Midrash Agadah, this is why Eliezer gave Rivka a gold ring at the well, when he comes and he sees this girl and she's coming and she's filling the jug with water, and then she sees this man there and she offers water to him, and then she offers to the camels. And this in his head, he was all the time that he was coming to look for this wife, he's asking God that to please send someone that is a kind human being. This was the attribute that he was looking for. He was looking for a kind person to marry Isaac, a kind woman. And when she comes and offers water to him, he realizes she's kind. But when she comes and again she offers water to the camels, he recognizes, no, this is exceptionally kind. So he was acting as a legal agent, a shliach, to betroth her on Isaac's behalf. Isaac, you have to understand, this is like the bachelor of the time. He's the most coveted bachelor of the world, and he was like a prince. So he came to look for a wife for him, and it says, the sages teach that Eliezer acted as a shliach for Isaac, as an emissary. Though in their view the betrothal was effected by the gifts Eliezer gives to Rebecca, in any case, the ring and 2 bracelets gifted to Rebecca symbolize her marriage to Isaac and her role as a mother for the future nation of Israel. So the ring also represents, because if you look at the weight of the ring, which was the weight of half a shekel, this represents that the marriage is something that really taps into infinitude. When a man and a woman unite themselves as a couple, it's half of two souls that come and become one. And this is connected to infinitude. And the two bracelets upon the hands, which their value was the weight of 10 shekels of gold in weight, represent the Luchot, which is the Torah that was given at Mount Sinai, the tablets, which contain the 10 commandments. So we continue here learning from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He teaches that in Kabbalah, the circle represents the encompassing light, and the frames are reality. So the Kabbalah differentiates between two types of divine light. There's two ways in which the light of God comes into the world. One is called Or Penimi, which is a pervading inner light. It's a light that's within the object. Like, for example, if you have this here, inside of the plant, inside of that water, inside of this vase, there's light. Everything that exists in the world is made out of energy, of light. And this is what it's called the Or Penimi. It's an indwelling light. And then there's another light which is known as the Or Makif, which is transcendent. And this is a light that is not internal, but it's external. It surrounds. So you have this, you see inside there's this light that's energizing it, that's sustaining it, but outside of the plant there's also light that we cannot see. So the inner light describes a flow of divine energy that conforms to the parameters of our lives. The workings of nature, it's inside, it's embedded in nature, or also the process of history, are in truth divine influences upon our existence. But these are divine influences that have assumed a form and nature that we can comprehend and internalize. So anything that is comprehensible to us, that is part of the natural order, that is part of this finite world that we can come to grasp and understand and see, and we can feel with our senses, with our sight and with our smell and our ears, that we can hear and taste and touch. This is what it's called the Or Penimi, which is that indwelling light. But then there's a different type of light, which is a supernatural manifestation of this divine light. And this is where, when we tap to faith, we tap to miracles, it's existential mysteries of the world, and mind-blowing experiences. So many times we go through moments in our lives where, like, we see miracle after miracle that we cannot even explain how things happen, and it's hard to assimilate them, and only we can accept them when we recognize that there's another realm in the world. Like, okay, there's the things we can experience and see, but there is much more than that. And this is not to say that the encompassing light, this Or Makif, is something that is outside of our being. It doesn't mean that it's external, it has nothing to do with us, because it really does penetrate our reality from head to foot, to its innerness and inside of its innerness. So it is a basic, indeed more basic to our experience as an inner light. Yet even as it suffuses our being, it remains aloof from us and beyond us, holding us in the embrace while eluding our attempts to grasp it and define it. So this is when we talk about the spiritual world, and we're talking about God, and we're talking about things that are beyond our comprehension, and we have to really make that jump, that leap of faith, where we just connect to a different reality that we can come to say, okay, I don't get it, I don't understand it, but that it exists. So the soul of man, which was created in the image of God, also emits both an inner light and an encompassing light, and it manifests itself via finite and definite faculties such as its senses, the intellect, our feelings, anything that is within us. We have three levels of the soul, which are nefesh, ruach, neshama. The nefesh is the vitalizing, the aspect of our souls that is instinctive. It's part of our behavior, is that level of the soul. Then you have the ruach, which is the level of the soul that is connected to our emotions. And you have a level of the soul, which is called the neshama, which is connected to our intellect. So these three levels of the soul, which are within the body, they're indwelling light, right? This is what connects us to all this reality that we experience. But there also exists an encompassing light, which is higher than these three levels of the soul, which connect to another two levels of the soul, which are Chaya and Yehida. Chaya is the intuitive level of the soul, which is beyond our intellect, and it's like a lifeline that connects you to your life, to your oneness with God, which is the Yehida, which you have to tap into a different realm to be able to connect to these two levels. And these ones contain the powers of desire, of will, of faith, of pleasure, of godly things, and the capacity of self-sacrifice. And these are super-rational and supranatural powers which defy the constraints of physical and reason, and even the axioms of self-interest and self-preservation. So they go beyond us. They're above and beyond us. And really, a person is so much more capable than he can ever imagine, and it comes from this encompassing light, this or makiv, that gives us that power. Like sometimes we go through experiences in our life where we say, okay, I'm not going to survive this, it's impossible, and then there's this certain force, this special energy and force that gives you the motor, it gives you the energy to keep going, and this is what we're talking about here. So here it says also that while the features and qualities of the created reality are expressions of or penim, which is that light that is indwelling, our existence itself derives from the or makif, which is the encompassing light. Correspondingly, we understand the manner in which the laws of nature operate, but we have no comprehension as to why these laws were created. So we know how they behave. Like you know that if it's there's a vortex in New York, a cold vortex in New York, and the air is blowing south, obviously here in Florida we're gonna have 46 degrees today. So, but why these laws exist, we cannot know. So going back to marriage and what this has to do with a marriage, the Rebbe teaches that marriage is really the most supra-rational and supra-natural endeavor undertaken by man. Like if you think about it in logical terms, it doesn't make sense to get married. It's really a bad idea. And for two individuals to become one flesh is to violate all laws of ego and identity. So what's going on in a Jewish huppah? When the couple is inside the huppah, the rabbi will say, like, this is not a union, this is a reunion. This is two halves of one soul that are predestined to be together, and when they get together under the huppah and they marry each other, then these half souls become one soul. Obviously, we're not gonna leave our identity. The woman is a woman, the man is a man, the father, the mother, each one has their place, but at a level of soul, you're actually one. So marriage really is a contract where you're violating all your ego and your identity, and you overcome basic existential rule that one makes two. One doesn't make two. Here we see that two halves make one. So thus it is a marriage that we must emulate God, and this is where we try to be the most godly, is in the sanctuary of our homes, of our marriage. And this is why God gives us this mitzvah to marry. It's a mitzvah to get married, because it's only in marriage that a person can really come to emulate Hashem by creating life and internalizing the temporal by reproducing men and women, not only create a child, but also the child potential to have children, and for his children to have children, and their children to have children, and so on. So this is the first mitzvah that God gives Adam and Eve, is to procreate. And when the world was destroyed and Noah came out of the ark, this was the next mitzvah he gave him, was go and procreate. This is very important because this is a world that has to have a continuation. It's not like it's gonna end with you. You have to leave something in this world that will be perpetual. And anything that it has to do with the Torah and mitzvot is infinite, is infinitude. All the Torah you're gonna learn in your life, the day you're out of this world, you take that Torah with you. It's part of you. All mitzvahs you do in this world, they continue giving. It's like the gift that never ends. And we learn from this parasha that Sarah was the foremother of the Jewish women. She brought into her tent these 3 miracles that were the lights of Shabbat and the Hala and the family purity. These were the things that she kept. These are the 3 mitzvahs of the woman that are particular to a woman. And we see that when Yitzhak brought Rivka into the tent, all these mitzvahs started to happen all over again, because it's the continuity of his mother and his father through them. And eventually their children have to be their continuity, and their children have to be their continuity. And this is how almost 4,000 years later the Jewish people are continuing, because it's something that it's giving and giving and giving and giving. So we see that when 2 become one, they transcend the finite and the mortal, unleashing the single human faculty that is infinite and divine. So even though we live in a finite world and we live a finite existence as a body, as a person, the soul of a person is never ending. It's infinite. It's never gonna die. It's something that will transcend this world. So marriage thus requires the activation of the encompassing powers of all those involved. And there are 3 partners to a marriage. There's the man, there's the woman, and there's God. In a marriage, you have to have this 3rd partner. If you don't have the 3rd partner, then the marriage will consume itself. So a marriage, therefore, consists of 3 circles: the feminine circle, the masculine circle, and the divine circle, which are alluded in the nose ring and in the 2 bracelets, the 2 that were given to Rivka by Eliezer, that were part of her dowry that was given to him to give to the bride. And we see that in a chuppah, in a Jewish wedding, when the bride comes into the chuppah, into the marriage canopy, she goes 7 times around the groom. And this is connected to that idea that she's enveloping him, but this is real. She's creating this reality in the encompassing light of her soul. So she has this indwelling light that is her soul, and what she's doing by going around 7 times around the groom is that she's committing herself to a bond that transcends reason and ego. And then the groom then gives her the ring and puts it in the index finger. And with this circle, he's also consecrating her to him as his wife, and he's also surrounding her with the light. And this occurs in the chuppah, which it's 4 legs and 1 roof, which usually is a talit. It has to be a talit, which is the wedding canopy. And this represents the embrace of Hashem, is God's embrace. That is that encompassing light that is embracing this new couple in the confines of that empowers them to transcend this reality and unite them with the eternal edifice of marriage. Also, the wedding canopy represents the Jewish home, which is alluded to Abraham Avinu and his tent in the desert, where he had all openings. It was open. The 4 entrances were open to come to allow guests to come into the home and to be a place where there was kindness and love and helping people. And this is a big representation of the Jewish home. A Jewish home has to be a place where the divine is felt through peace in the home between the couple. They have to work to have shalom bayit, to have peace, and to have a home where it's a reflection of Hashem. Have Torah books in your library, have your Shabbat candles displayed, ready to be lit every Friday, have a beautiful dining room where you can invite guests, have a kosher kitchen, keep the laws of purity. And in this way, you're going to be able to have that partnership of you, your husband, or your husband and you, and God. And this will be infinite. It will be never ending. So I want to wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.